Welcome, buddy. Let's try that again. Welcome, everybody, to our first Detroit Lions live show. We're going to be doing this every week for about 20 minutes, maybe 30. We'll see where everything goes. But we're going to be talking about a few different things today. Obviously, the big one is the Lions lost on Thanksgiving to the Green Bay Packers. We're going to talk about why that happened, some of the things that really kind of stuck in my head, stuck in my craw as to why that game was lost. Let's just jump right into it. First off, I got to say, the Lions are killing themselves with their own culture. I wrote an article about this today, and the crux of that whole story was the Lions are playing as if they're still that 2022 team, that 2023 team, 2024 even a little bit too. A lot of fourth down attempts, a lot of things where the Lions just don't need to be doing those things anymore. At some point, you have to shift your identity. And when you get into situations where you come out of the first half, you scored 14 points, you had a great second quarter, things were going really well there, and then you kill your momentum on your first drive out of the half because you are going for it in essentially your own territory. The Packers get to take over at their own 49, which is, I mean, again, that's essentially Lions territory. You go for it on fourth down, and you do it with a play that you just got stuffed on third down. You know that's not going to work. Jahmyr Gibbs was not going up the middle. It wasn't going to happen. If there were ever a time for a pass play, it was on that fourth down in the beginning of the second half, but they didn't do it. They checked into the run again, and some of that has to go on to Jared Goff because that very much looked like a pass that he killed and checked into a run. And you saw what happened. Jahmyr Gibbs got stuffed. Packers took over. 51-yard touchdown moments later. You just can't have that. That is a team killer. And I know that everybody loves the idea of going for it, and I'm all for it too. Like I've loved the identity that the Lions have had for all these years. This is who they are. They are the team that loves to go for it on fourth down. They're the aggressive team, the gambling team, and it's gotten them far in life. It has. But at a certain point in time, you've got to trust the defense a little bit. Now, I know that's hard to say because the Lions defense gave up 31 points yesterday. They had Jordan Love had a lot of time to throw. There were some issues. Aiden Hutchinson couldn't get home, stuff like that. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But you have to trust that, hey, in the second quarter, we were able to get things going a little bit better. All we need to do is punt this ball, try to bury them deep. We know Jack Fox is a great punter. He's an all-pro punter. We saw what he did against the Giants. I mean, they had, 6-7 punts? 6-7. I didn't mean to do that. I'll never do it again. They had 6 to 7 punts that were in like that 15-yard range, or 15, where it was in the opponent's territory on their like 15-yard line or shorter. And I just don't know why you don't bring that guy out in that situation. Bury the Packers deep, force them to try to get out of that. Instead, you put them in your territory. And a few plays later, you're down 10 points instead of just 3, and the game just kind of went away from there. And then there's the one later where you got to kick a field goal. You got to do it. At a certain point in time, you got to take points. You have to do it. Jake Bates is a great kicker. This was a chip shot. The pass was good. The route was good for Jameson Williams. Like everything about that was perfect, except they just didn't execute. And if they execute, hey, maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe if they execute, I'm looking here. I'm not even thinking about it, right? I'm not even talking to you today about how fourth down is a problem. But if they kick a field goal, they go down 7 points in that game. We know that on the next drive, they get a stop. And, I mean, it's hindsight, obviously. The Lions don't know at that time that they're going to get a stop. They don't know that. But they get the ball back. They go down. They get a field goal. Let's just say, hey, they go down and get a touchdown. They tie the game. They're going to try to get another drive later. It changes the entire outcome of the game if you start putting the points on the board when you have the opportunity to do so. And when you punt, when you should. I mean, The game against the Eagles is the same thing. There were just so many opportunities where the Lions just punt, man. Your defense is on fire right now. Punt. And I know that's not the same story with the Packers and the Giants games because the defense has kind of been a little rough in these last 2 weeks. But you got to start taking advantage of some of these things. And believe me, it's not something that I thought I would say. I've usually been the guy who's talked to you about how great the fourth down thing is and how that's their identity. But at this point, Dan Campbell has to know you got to change your identity. You got to do something different. You got to trust what you have on the field. You got to use some of these special teams guys, Jack Fox, Jake Bates, and go with the best opportunity that you have to win a game. It can't all be just riding on the fact that, that you hope you get this fourth down. And it's a hard one to do because you're a GOAT either way. You're the greatest of all time if you get it, and you're the bad guy if it doesn't work. So that's my thoughts on that. The next thing I want to talk about is Aiden Hutchinson. And Lions fans are not going to like me on this, and that's fine. Look, you guys could say whatever you want. I don't care. That guy's really good at football. And the Lions did not lose this game because Aiden Hutchinson couldn't get a sack. I'm sorry. That's just not what happened. They lost this game because they made too many mistakes. Fourth downs, poor time management, especially on that final offensive drive. I don't know why the Lions are playing like they're up 10 when they're down 10. But Aiden Hutchinson had a fairly good game. It's not all about sacks. I know that's to everyone in the world. That's the only thing that matters. But it's just not. The guy got pressure on multiple occasions, forced bad throws. I mean, go look at the film. There are several instances in where Aiden Hutchinson goes back, gets pressure, forces Jordan Love off his spot, has to throw a bad ball. It goes incomplete. Yes, you want sacks. Sacks are incredibly important. They're awesome. Everybody wants them. But at the same time, you can't, just because it doesn't happen, doesn't mean he's not out there getting run stops, doesn't mean he's not out there getting pressure. And yes, he is getting double teamed. He's getting chipped, and so does Myles Garrett, and so does Micah Parsons. And everybody will put that in the comments, and they'll say, well, Micah Parsons gets chipped, and he managed to get some sacks, and Myles Garrett gets all this stuff, and he mentions to get some sacks. The difference is, this is a huge difference, and this is on Brad Holmes, and this is maybe something that I defended a little bit too much of this in the beginning of the season, and I'll say it. Brad Holmes didn't do anything to help Aiden Hutchinson this offseason, and and that's it. That's really it. Hutchinson's over there getting double teamed, triple teamed, chipped. That means guys are getting one-on-one opportunities. That means Marcus Davenport has one-on-one opportunities. He's not winning. Al-Quadin Muhammad has one-on-one opportunities. He's not winning. Aleem McNeil has one-on-one opportunities. He's not winning. Anyone who's on that field is getting opportunity because of all the attention that's paid to Aiden Hutchinson, and they're not winning. With Myles Garrett, he at least has Malik Collins. He has Isaiah McGuire. He has guys who are getting pressure, getting sacks. They're helping. And you also have to go with Micah Parsons, has Rashawn Gary, Devonta Wyatt, Brooks. These guys are all playing really well, getting pressure, getting sacks. And when that happens, when those other guys can take advantage of their one-on-ones, they become an area where you have to put your attention on, and that takes the attention off Aiden Hutchinson, and that gets him his one-on-ones. But that's not happening. The Packers' entire game plan on this whole game was, let's stop Aiden Hutchinson. It was either double, triple, chip, fast passes. If Hutchinson was in the area, Jordan Love was going away. They were running play-action passes that were going to the side of the field where Hutchinson was so that Love could go to the other side of the field and make the throw. Take a look at that big throw he had at their tight end. I can't remember his name, Musgrave, I think it is. That's exactly what happened. Play action. They made it look like a run to the left where Hutchinson was. He got double teamed, And then they moved everything over to the right. Love threw the ball, the Musgrave, big 23-yard play. I just don't know how much you can really put the blame on a guy who is seemingly the only one out there doing his job. And I hate to say it that way, but it's not working out. It's not working out with the rest of these guys on this defensive line. And to stay on the defense, and I just kind of touched on it a little bit there a second, a 23-yard play, the Lions have allowed 14 plays of 20 yards or more in the last 2 weeks. 14 explosives in the last 2 weeks alone. That is insane. That's a lot. And, man, as much as I love Amik Robertson, a lot of those are on him. And that 51-yard touchdown was on Amik Robertson. A lot of what Wan'Dale Robinson was able to do against the Lions last week was against Amik Robertson. And it just, this is where I get into the whole thing. Like, Dan Campbell coached a really strange game yesterday because Robertson is clearly having a lot of trouble right now. Why is Terrion Arnold only playing 18 snaps in that game? I get that he's coming back from concussion protocol, and you want to be safe with that. But when he was on the field, man, he was laying dudes out. He was hitting. I mean, he had a huge hit. And I don't know if maybe they were like, okay, we've got to take him off if he's going to be doing stuff like that because that's a little bit too much. But that moment right there showed that he should be fine. So the thought process is why are you not playing the better cornerback in this game? You've got to get Arnold out there a little bit more. Robertson has put in the last 2 weeks. So against the Giants, 8 catches for 90 yards. And then against the Packers, 5 catches for 90 yards and a touchdown. That's just a lot, man. And he's getting targeted like crazy. 12 targets against the Giants and then 9 targets against the Packers. Everyone knows where they can butter their bread against this Lions defense. And right now, unfortunately, it's against Amik Robertson. So I don't know what happens against the Dallas Cowboys, but look at Dak Prescott, man. That guy is slinging that ball, and he is playing some of the best football he's played in a while. And altogether, that Cowboys team is kind of red hot at the moment. Win over the Eagles, and then a win over the Chiefs. I know the Chiefs may not be the team that kind of, that we've always thought they were, the team that beat the Lions, but that's just, they're not that team. They're not that team anymore. But still, that's an impressive win for the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. I just got to say, man, I look at this game against the Cowboys, and it's a frightening one. Unless you have DJ Reed and Terrion Arnold in their spots where they're supposed to be and Kirby Joseph back, I mean, this could be an air raid. And I think right now that's kind of one of the big things with the defense. They're having trouble getting pressure, and they're having trouble hanging on because, it takes a little bit too much time to pressure. And you can only hold on for so long. And I just don't know what the Lions are going to do in the next week. The good news is, one game in 16 days, that gives enough time to make sure everybody's in their place where they could be getting back healthy. Hopefully you get Amon-Ra St. Brown back sooner than you hope. We know at this point it's not a long-term injury. It's something that is going to be, Campbell said on Thursday night, it might be like a week or two long thing, but we'll see. Terrion Arnold was supposed to be out for the season a few weeks ago. Remember that? He wound up being back at practice days later. So we'll see what happens with that, but you got to hope you get Amon-Ra St. Brown back. But I do want to touch on some of the good stuff that I saw in this game because I thought there was some good stuff. And I got to say, I think Jared Goff played a really good game. And despite having a backup, the third string center at this point, because Frank Ragnow is now the first string center, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But having your third string center, Tristan Colon, out there who didn't really play that bad of a game. I think the PFF grades are out. Let's take a look. I'd like to see what Colon got. All right, here we go. Okay, well, maybe it wasn't that good. 49.6 grade for Tristan Colon. Jameson Williams got a 91.2 grade. He was the highest graded offensive player for the Lions. Brian Branch got an 83.6, despite that weird that weird touchdown where he just seemingly stopped covering. I don't know what he was doing there. It was crazy, but I am interested to see who let up most of the pressure. So Goff was pressured 10 times in this game, sacked 3 times. And the sacks went against Taylor Decker, Penei Sewell, which is rare, and Coyote Awashika. So, yeah, with that said, I think that Goff had an impressive game for what he had to get over. He had that big 24-yard run, which, I mean, Lamar Goff out here going on a run. Who would have thought that was going to happen? You don't usually see Goff go for that sort of thing. But I got to say that sorry. I thought he played well. For going 0 for 3 in the first quarter and then 15 straight completions. Unfortunately, that streak was broken on that Jameson Williams drop on 4th down, but he was accurate. He was slinging the ball. He was getting it downfield. I don't know what more you need to see from him, but I thought that was an impressive performance from Jared Goff. I thought Jahmyr Gibbs played fairly well, had some decent runs. Would have liked to have seen a little bit more of that. Jameson Williams had a good game, a great game. I was really happy to see Tom Kennedy get some good plays in there. Had a huge catch in the second quarter that set up a touchdown. Also, Isaac Tesla, we finally got to see a little bit more of him. He had a big touchdown in the second quarter, or the third quarter rather, and hopefully going forward you see some more of him. It's time to get him involved. If you want an answer for how you can get this deep pass game going, Isaac Tesla is that answer, because all the attention's going to Jameson Williams at this point, and Tesla has that deep ball contested catch ability. Let's see the Lions start getting both these guys on the field at the same time, and that should open some stuff up. Plus he's a really solid blocker too, so I just don't know why we haven't seen a whole lot of him. I know Dan Campbell said on Wednesday or Tuesday rather that he's just maybe not there yet, but we'll see. So that's what I think about Thanksgiving. Those are all my thoughts. I'm open to take questions. If you got any, throw them my way. I'd love to answer some of them, but I do want to spend some time on what the big news was ahead of the game, and that is the return of Frank Ragnow. And let me tell you, man, it cannot come soon enough. You got to hope that somehow he's ready on Thursday for the Dallas Cowboys, and they don't have to wait for him to play against the Rams, because the Cowboys game on Thursday is a must win. I know you're not supposed to say must win. I don't know when you're allowed to say must win, but for me, this is a must win. This game, you got to win. And you got to have Frank Ragnow back for this. But man, what a rollout of that whole thing. I'm actually, to give you a little peek at where I was, I'm in the car. My wife's driving. I'm writing up an article for the activations that are going to happen that day. We knew Marcus Davenport was coming. We knew Miles Frazier was coming, and I had to write something because I knew Josh Paschal was done for the year. But I'm writing up these articles, and I have the Lions Twitter notifications turned on, and I see this picture. I see it in the little notification picture on my phone, and I'm like, man, what is that? And I click on it, and I'm like, I zoom in, 77. That's Frank Ragnow. Like, what are the Lions doing? That's Frank Ragnow. And then my first assumption was, okay, well, he's probably going to be at the game. Lions always have legends at the games, these big games, these Thanksgiving things. Calvin Johnson was in the building yesterday. Barry Sanders is always hanging around. Maybe they were going to honor him at halftime or something, or put him on the camera, and everybody's going to wave. And then moments later, they're saying he's out of retirement. He's pulling the Michael Jordan. He's coming back. He's not going to wear number 45, but he's coming back to play ball. And, I mean, what a huge, huge thing for the Lions. I know they lost yesterday, and I know you're looking at this season like it's over, but, man, that is a season-changing thing to have an all-pro center added to an offensive line that desperately needs to run the ball and desperately needs to protect their quarterback. if Ragnow can come back and be the guy that we're used to seeing, that all-pro center, that changes the offense completely. That opens up so much what they're able to do in terms of running the ball and protecting their quarterback and getting the pass out. Because right now they don't have a whole lot of time to throw. And it's not just the center position either, because theoretically you're moving Graham Glasgow over to left guard now, where he's a much better player. He's not the best left guard in the world, but he's an upgrade over Coyote Awashika all day. I know Miles Frazier is healthy now and activated, and Lions fans would love to see him play, but I just don't know if you throw him out there just yet. I know they did it last year with Christian Mahogany out of necessity. They had to do it. They threw him in. He had no training camp and a few weeks of practice. But at this point, I mean, that's a totally different team, man. That's a 15-win team that had to throw a rookie with no experience out there. This is a team that needs to get over the hump and try to make the playoffs or try to win the division, which they can still do. By the way, it's not over. I know. I see Eric Numerich's comment here. I hope I didn't butcher your last name. He's losing faith in the team. I get it, man. I get it. But there is still a road for the Detroit Lions. Just look at the schedule that's coming up. It's not a pipe dream. It's not a pipe dream. It can happen. Take a look at what they have. They've got the Cowboys on Thursday. They can win that game. I know the Cowboys are hot, but, man, that defense is still the Cowboys defense. They're still allowing a lot of points. If it becomes a shootout, you got to win the shootout. You got the Rams after that. The Rams are no joke, man. That's, we can look at that game and let's just say it's a loss. Let's just count it as a loss. You got the Steelers, who you can beat. The Steelers are a very beatable team. You've got the Bears, who you already hung 52 points on earlier this season. I don't see why you couldn't do that again. And you've got who's the other team I'm forgetting? Somebody help me out. Let me look at it. It's live. We're live, people. Oh, and the Vikings. Yeah, and the Vikings. Thank you. You got the Rams, Steelers, Vikings, Bears, Week 18 at home, or in Chicago, I should say. You got the Vikings on Christmas Day. The Vikings don't look like a very good team. I know they did just beat the Lions a few weeks ago. I mean, that one just seems extenuating circumstances on that game, and the circumstances were they kept pressuring up the middle. Well, hey, if you got an all-pro center there all of a sudden, that kind of makes things different, doesn't it? So if you can come out of that 4-1, you're 11-6. The Bears have to face the Green Bay Packers 2 times in the next few weeks. They also have to face the San Francisco 49ers and the Detroit Lions. And they have the Eagles today. That is a very hard run for the Chicago Bears. And let me tell you something about this 8-3 Bears team. They are the worst 8-3 Bears. They're the worst 8-3 team of all time. According to Aaron Schatz, who runs DVOA, the Bears have the worst DVOA that an 8-3 team has ever had in NFL history. And that's because they're not beating anybody, man. They faced 2 winning teams, and they got bombed on by both of them. So they got to now take on the Eagles, who are the Super Bowl champions and arguably the NFC favorite, or one of the NFC favorites, if you count the Rams and the Seahawks. And then they got the Packers, who are a good team. We saw it yesterday. They beat the Lions twice at this point. They got the Packers twice, and then the 49ers. And then the Packers have the Bears twice. They have the Broncos, who have the best defense in the league right now. They've got the Baltimore Ravens, who, despite their loss last night, have been kind of surging back, still have a chance to make the playoffs. That game's going to mean something for them at the end of the year. So it's not easy. And the Vikings have the Seahawks on Sunday with their third-string quarterback, an undrafted rookie, Max Brosmer. Unless that kid suddenly is Tom Brady, they're probably going to lose that game, and they'll have their 8th loss, and that's probably going to be it for them. And I don't know when McCarthy's going to be back. He's going to be if this is just a 1 week thing or whatever it is. But it's a hard road. It is a hard road for these teams. And then the 49ers, outside of the division, the 49ers are really the tough team. They got to face the Seahawks. They've got to face the Bears. They've got a hard road too. So the Lions got to just take care of their business, win their games, do what you got to do, and let nature unfold on its own. And the Lions can absolutely not only make the playoffs, but can still win the NFC North. We'll see what happens. It's going to be a really hard road. I don't know. I don't know at this point. But hey, you can't just lose faith just because of a few losses. We've seen a similar thing happen with the 2023 team, where it just in that November, early December area, it just looked like they were not the team we thought they could be, and then they went to the NFC Championship game. So you never know what could happen in this league. But hey, Pistons are really good right now, so go support them too. Yeah, if you guys got any questions, I would love to answer some. Let's see if we got some. I'm not seeing anything. Well, that's fine. Maybe next time. So this will be a. Oh, here we go. What's the percentage chance you think Frank plays on Thursday versus the Cowboys? I think it's low. I really do. I don't think that he's going to play in this game. I think you're almost guaranteed to have him against the Rams. But you never know. I mean, he has, from what we understand, he's stayed in shape. He's still in football shape, ready to go. But a week's worth of practice? I don't know. I don't know if I see that happening. But if he comes back, man, Ford Field's going to be electric on Thursday night against the Dallas Cowboys. I hope he's there. I'm going to be in the building. I'd love to see both Frank Ragnow and then the Temptations at halftime. And hopefully I get both of those things. Let's see what we got. More worried about the Rams or the Cowboys offense? I'm more worried about it's weird because I think I'm more worried about the Cowboys because Dak Prescott, and I hope our Cowboys beat reporter Mauricio Rodriguez is not watching this because we fight about this all the time, and I don't want to give him any good ammo. But man, Dak is balling right now, and he's not the most accurate guy. He's going to make some mistakes, and things are going to happen. But I mean, CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens are both just really good targets for him, and I am concerned. I'm very concerned about that Cowboys offense. The good thing is that Cowboys defense is still pretty bad, so we'll see. What do we got here? Dan Campbell has been calling some horrible games the last 3 weeks. What is your opinion since he took over play calling? Well, I think that the Lions offense has been better. It's certainly been better with Campbell than it has with Morton, and you've seen that for sure. It's just some of these decisions. It's you have to be better. I go back to that Eagles game. Such a close game, and all those 0 for 5 on fourth down. At some point, you got to punt that ball, man. The Lions defense was playing so well in that game. Everybody looks at how bad of a game Jared Goff had, but Jalen Hurts completed 50% of his passes. It was rough. It was not a good game for him at all. Punt it down, man. You got one of the best punters in the league. Use it. That's the only thing. I think they've been really good offensively. They're putting points on the board. I need to see more. Mike, do you feel DC is hitting the panic button? A great team not playing to their standard, unlike years prior, and dealing with a new adversity and is a positive thing at the end of the day. But the clock is ticking, and I sense pressure from DC. Yeah, no, I mean, I know that the Lions are certainly, that's kind of one of their mottos. They are a team that is very heavily believes in the idea that maybe we needed to get kicked in the face. And every time they do get kicked in the face, they wind up kind of coming back. And we know they haven't lost 2 games in a row in like 3 years. So they've been really good at bouncing back. That whole thing's going to be really tested against the Cowboys on Thursday night. But no, I think part of it is good. You know, I look at that Eagles team that won the Super Bowl last year. They had to go through a very similar situation. They went to the big game, lost both their coordinators. Jason Kelsey retired. All that stuff went down, and they didn't make the playoffs the next year. They made the playoffs, but then got beaten by the Buccaneers early. So then they turned it around. They found the right coordinators, they got the right hires, and they went and won the Super Bowl. So you got to hope that the Lions are on that same path. But if they're not, then it could be trouble. Yeah, Brad Holmes has to have the off season of his career this year. It's got to be perfect. He's got to do something outside of the box, while also maintaining all the guys that they have on the team. But it's got to be a much better off season. But we'll see where it goes. I'm going to wrap today's episode up. I really appreciate everybody who tuned in, asked questions, had comments. We will be doing these live going forward every Wednesday. And I'm always happy to talk with you guys. Always happy to spend Thanksgiving with you, even though some of you drive me absolutely crazy. But have a good Black Friday. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you next week.